Ask the Mayor. Your chance to ask the Mayor of Weymouth, Bob Hedlund, questions about the town and or anything else that you have concerns about. Ask the Mayor is pre-recorded. And now, Ask the Mayor with Bob Hedlund.
Hey, welcome back again to another episode of Ask the Mayor. Ask the Mayor. Let's start again, please, if you don't mind.
No,
I want to go back.
Roll, baby.
No, I want to go back. We'll start again. Ready? Hey, welcome back to another episode of Ask the Mayor. My name's Jim Melody. I'm the lightning round inquisitor. Today we are going to break a record for Ask the Mayor with the amount of questions we're asked at the specific request of the mayor. As always, I'm joined with Mayor Bob Hedlund. Robert, how are you today?
We have a huge stack. The goal is
12 questions.
10 to 12 questions.
I heard 12. I'm writing down 12. Bob, I have my seatbelt fastened. Are you ready, sir?
Yes.
All right, here we go. These are in no particular order. Bob, this one's from Tom O'Hara. Hey, Mayor, can you tell me when this tree limb on River Street heading to Broadreach on the right-hand side of the street falls down? Who will be responsible for any damage that it could cause? Would the town be responsible for any personal injuries if they do occur? Can you please have someone look at this?
What's the date on it?
This one comes with photos. This is March 10th, 2019, just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago. So.
Oh boy, did you see these photos, by the way?
That's
Holy
awesome.
crap! This thing's coming
the,
down.
The quick thing. I mean, for immediate service, he could have called DPW, and maybe he did. Called DPW, and if it was threatening wires or public safety, they would probably address it. I would say, in answer to his question, if it falls down, if it's the tree that's on private property and privately owned, and we discussed this in the show in the past. It would be the homeowner's responsibility, obviously. If a tree falls like that and blocks a town way, we will clear it. In terms of, I can't get into the specifics of liability. That would be a question for his insurance, company.
Oh, great answer, Bob. Let's keep moving. Hey, Bob, this one's from Ed Hartnett. Hello, Mayor Bob and Jim Hurdy-Gurdy Man Melody. Hello, Mayor Hedlund. This has been on my mind for a while. We have gone through as many as 3 developers at the former airbase for what is, at this point, I'm calling failed point, or what is the point? What is or has been the process for selecting a developer at the former airbase? We have picked some real winners, or should I say losers. Is this process flawed on picking these developers? How is their background looked at, and what successful projects have they done to them where they were picked to obtain the job? Then they arrive here and make all kinds of promises and do the opposite. It seems that the only thing we can do is shut the water off, and there must be more that we can do to control this issue. The airbase needed someone like ProDrive to kick the former airbase into gear. Too bad. It may be beautiful someday at the former airbase, but I may be 6 feet under by then and will not be able to see it as a working community.
Excellent question from Ed Hart, the
Excellent.
most prolific letter writer as usual. I think he's right in his assessment. I would maybe dispute they're all losers. I mean, the initial master developer was awarded by the Tri-Town Development Commission back then, the previous
Kevin
law,
Donovan.
to Lennar Corporation. It was a unanimous vote by the board, and I think the town leadership at the time supported that. That occurred under Mayor Madden's tenure. And Lennar, very successful.
Were the feds involved in that at all, Bob, or just that Tri-Town?
Tri-Town.
Just Tri-Town, okay, good.
And Lennar, a very obviously successful national company. However, they flipped the property to Starwood and then to L-Star. So I would describe the last group as losers, sure.
Thieves.
But the process, in answer to his question, the master developer was chosen at that time by Lennar, and those successors were people who came in and bought the project. The board at the time, you have to remember, it was the Southfield Redevelopment Authority Board that approved the transfer to L-Star. That occurred before I came here as mayor.
So when it went from Lennar to Starwood, that had nothing to do with the Tri-Town, or they did?
No, they were
They
good
were
with
involved.
the sale.
Okay.
Because you got to remember, when it went to Starwood, Starwood did absolutely nothing. Major corporation that did nothing. This was like the forgotten outpost in their portfolio. In fact, when they bought it from Lennar, they didn't want this property, and Lennar said it was a take it or leave it proposition when they bought Lennar's portfolio.
Oh, so Starwood bought Lennar?
Bought a big part of their portfolio. Lennar was going through some changes, reorg, I forget what occurred then. They got hurt in that downturn. So the transfer occurred, was approved, and it was the changes occurred in 20 14 and 15 on the making up of the enabling legislation that governs the project, but L-Star was already in through that purchase from and taking that over from Starwood as master developer. So that's the process. We're using the process that's in the legislation to get rid of them. So that's kind of the quick answer, and we're over our 3-minute allotment on that one.
Boy, because L-Star certainly slipped through the cracks, or so it seems. All right, we're going to keep moving on, Bob.
And I wouldn't even say L-Star, I would say the principal of L-Star. I mean, he was ripping off his own partners, and you know, it took a while for them to catch him.
What's the status of chasing Corkum down? Is he's still on the
He's
run?
broke, no. And I think there's other shoes that'll probably drop. And this,
My follow-up
you gotta
question,
think.
we're going to go as number 3.
Okay.
All right, we're going on to number 4, Bob. This is from kind of an anonymous inquisitor. Hello, Bob. Growing up in South
I
Weymouth.
like the headline on it. Can I
Yeah.
see it?
I'm trying to avoid reading
Say
it.
what it says.
It says,
Oh, no, that
what?
right there.
Oh, garbage. All right. Sorry. Hello. Growing up in South Weymouth, I remember my parents always said that we had to separate our food garbage from our trash. My mom has moved to North Weymouth and still separates the garbage into food and non-food. I don't understand the logic of this. Food is biodegradable, but gets put in plastic bags or milk cartons, and plastic never breaks down. Does the town still require the citizens to separate food and non-food
No, but I
trash?
don't
Is
understand the question. I'm thinking maybe this caller, this writer, and I don't know how old they are, but I mean, it might go back to the days as I remember.
I was thinking the same thing. Very old person.
When we separated it and put the food waste in the garbage pail, and Dooley Stock Farm came and picked it up,
Oh, you're kidding me.
you know, and was fed to the pigs over in Holbrook.
That's phenomenal.
So I think maybe, I don't know if that's a vestige of that, but
Wow.
I don't think there's anything that governs that. I could be wrong on that one.
So we do not separate food and non-food. There's no rhyme or reason to
I mean,
do
most
that.
people have a garbage disposal now too.
Sure.
I mean, we have looked at, and we're in the early stages, Quincy's looking at a food composting program, and we're having some discussion about that, but we're not sure how practical it is. But go ahead.
So you do not have to separate food and non-food
As far as
at
my
the end of the day.
understanding, I could be wrong. If Dan McCormick sees this and yells at me, we'll get back to you.
Well, listen, we're touching all the bases. This one's a little bit less hefty than so many that we've seen. Dear Mayor, my name is Matty D, and I'm a longtime viewer of Ask the Mayor. I've learned from the show that you're a big wrestling fan, especially of Ric Flair. I was wondering if you would want to be a guest panelist on our WCA show, Kings and Queens of Wrestling. We've been doing our show for over 5 years and would love to have you come on and talk about some of your favorite wrestlers and matches throughout the years. Matty D, a.k.a. the Cultured One.
Okay, so I would be happy to come on the show. I'm not sure what I could add to the show since I do not currently watch wrestling. I do not appreciate and can't relate to the current product. I certainly enjoyed it as a kid, and then, you know, around that time of the Monday Night Wars with WCW Monday Nitro being the #1 rated cable TV show in America, I got caught up in the hype of the whole NWO angle and all that and watched for a while then, but I can say that for the last 10 years I really haven't been engaged. But if they need a historical perspective to talk about wrestling in the 80s and mid-90s, I could possibly do that for him. I have been, and he might be aware of this is why what prompted the question, I have been to a couple of indie shows lately in the area with my son, so maybe he saw me there.
Can I send you my picture of me with Bruno Sammartino? All right, we will. And Captain Lou.
Nice.
All right, Robert, what is the status of what is the status of Sacred Heart High School? Last I heard is that there's been discussion of tearing it down for a parking lot. I'm a butter and I'm concerned. Wow, is that true?
So I can't answer that because I can't speak for the Archdiocese, but I can tell you that when we were in negotiations that occurred at this table with Father Sean and the real estate people from the Archdiocese and Nick DeLagus, shortly after I took office, in an attempt to facilitate the restart of the DeLagus project, which you know was a giant hole in the ground and was stalled for a long time. And for DeLagus really to do anything, he needed cooperation from the Archdiocese because they owned property kind of in the heart of where his project was. And he paid them a hefty sum for that property. Unlike...
Where the school is located?
No.
Okay, in that area.
Where the project
yeah.
is.
Okay, yeah.
Across the
No,
street.
I know what you mean.
See,
I'm
now
just-
we're going to go over our limit. Forget that. So they buy a piece of land from the Archdiocese. They overpay for it because the Archdiocese held out for a high price because what the Archdiocese told him was they needed the money to cover demo costs in taking down the back part of the school structure, which I think is the auditorium or gym or something, the back classes that aren't used anymore. However, since that transaction has occurred, I believe the Archdiocese, excuse me, has discovered that there is significant abatement costs associated with the demo, and maybe they underestimated the cost of demolition. So that is stalled.
But is the school
their
going
argument
anywhere?
their argument was, we can't sell you this land across the street because we don't have enough parking, but if we get enough money out of you to sell you the lot, we'll use that money to demo part of the building and increase our parking capacity.
So the school's not going anywhere. Maybe a portion of the school is going to be remodeled or something.
No, a portion I think the Archdiocese would like to take down.
Right.
To accommodate parking. They do a very busy funeral business there, and they need some space.
You do not anticipate the school going anywhere, though. Is that fair to say?
Well, no.
The school itself.
No, they want to tear down an unused portion of the school.
That's
This
what
is
I
way out
understand.
back.
Just
Right.
want to make sure we're all clear.
I hope the school doesn't go away. They do.
Yeah, I
they do
would
a good
agree.
job
No,
over
it's
there.
certainly been an institution. All right, Bob, I don't even think we're halfway through this episode.
It's
We're
the
already
old-
halfway through our 12
it-
questions.
It's the old high school part that's not used in the back.
Excellent. All right, Rob, we're going to keep going on. Robert, this one's from Peter Quinn. Hi, Mayor Bob. I happen to catch you with your team on local TV about 10:30, 11:30, kind of late. No.
This is going to take 3 minutes to read this.
Yeah,
Go
no,
ahead.
maybe so. The topic was an April vote, and it would only cost the Weymouth taxpayer about $290 a home. We just covered this on that last episode.
It's down now. Lower.
We live in a 55-plus community at Weathervane, and the smart ones have moved south for obvious low taxes.
'Cause I'm leaving on a jet plane.
In fact, we think Weathervane should be tax advanced from
South
any.
as in South Weymouth?
I would presume so.
Riding along in my automobile.
That's my neck of the woods, you know. In fact, we think that Weathervane should be tax exempt from any increase. It is a cash cow for the town. Is Weathervane a cash cow for the town? You can answer that
Might
second.
be a cash cow for Jimmy Bristol.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a cash cow for the town.
Well, we have no children here. I guess he's making his case. There's no children there. The town doesn't maintain the catch basins, the streets, or the street lights. The town doesn't snowplow, nor do they do spring or fall cleanups. A neighbor said Jim Bristol mentioned that new roads, drains, etc. would last 30 years. Guess what? They will not. Major condo assessment coming soon to address these costs. My taxes here in Weymouth have almost doubled in 10 years. However, the Chinese who bought our Braintree home, their taxes have gone down. You get the point. I vote no to the new school. Perhaps it can be addressed when we are gone. We have enough on our plate already. Sincerely, Peter Quinn. So, what do you think? Should Weathervane be exempt?
No, we can't. I mean, we have other homeowners associations in town that, could make the same argument that he's trying to make, but no, we don't exempt people just because you don't have children. I mean, it's a community kind of an investment, and I think that the value of their homes over there directly related to the overall services that the town provides. I understand that you go in there and there are no children. I get that, but everything is kind of tied together here in terms of what a community has to offer that drives real estate prices, I think, to a degree. And they have amenities there, I get, that are unique, but no, it would require
Full participation.
It would require special legislation. It's not something that I can even do as part of the debt exclusion override, even if we wanted to.
And Peter, one thing you are not referring to is the fact that your property has gone up maybe 250% since he bought it. The value of those, that's the most expensive real estate in Weymouth. Is that fair as far as I know?
I don't
It
know.
is. I can
I've
tell
only-
you,
I've
or it was, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's your neighborhood. You're familiar.
It's
more
been a
familiar.
phenomenal investment.
You've probably golfed there. I have not.
I am in a league down there with Mr. Jim Bristol. I can tell you he's a good man and a good operator, and I could also tell you that I looked at it. May I steal 30 seconds? You guys can edit this out if you want to. I looked at a house there 2 years ago. It was 1,800 square feet, $725,000. In my neighborhood, the same size houses were $425. Across the street,
I got you.
Holy smokes. Those guys made good investments. Peter, you're making some valid points, but I think you're still on the upside of that investment, my brother. All right, we're moving on. Robert, here we go. We're on to question 8, if you can believe it. This one's regarding billboards, which has definitely come around. All right, he sent this again because it was never answered. I don't know what happened. Can we discuss the billboard trade, Route 3A to Route 3, and the placement of the new billboards? I have a fear that the electronic billboards will go right into my mother-in-law's bedroom on Front Street. This is from Brian Kelly.
Didn't we answer this before?
I have a fear that the electronic billboards will go right into my mother-in-law's bedroom on Front Street. This is from Brian Kelly.
Yes, he didn't think you answered it correctly.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So there you go.
No.
What about his mom?
No, she's not gonna. It's not gonna light her bedroom up. The directional stuff. So The first one is under construction right now, and you will be seeing it next month.
Okay.
Foundation's in, the steel's been delivered. Front streets won't be affected. So we don't have a second location yet. That's to be determined, and it's based on some negotiations with the state and the entity that governs billboards, the Outdoor Advertising Board. The trade was the town gets revenue from both billboards. We also get some land from Bristol again, because Bristol, part of the zoning covers his property, and the billboard company made a deal with him. So our first billboard's going up on Bristol property. So as part of the trade-off, Bristol is going to give us approximately, with finishing up this discussion, 40 acres adjacent to Gagnon Park that we will preserve as open space that would have been dense housing, probably apartments. So we don't get credit when we stop a project around here and preserve it as open space, but that's happening. And that'll be at minimal or no cost to the town, depending upon the final negotiations of the second billboard location. And as part of the trade, we worked out with the billboard company and the brokers, we are getting all of the billboards on Route 3 taken down. One is already down, the one at Cigar City. I'm hoping next month you'll see me up there with a cutting torch. We're going to have a little ceremony. I've done ribbon cuttings, groundbreakings. This will be the first time that we're going to celebrate something with a cutting torch. And we're going to take, I think the first one to come down is going to be on the roof of True North. Oh, the second one, the Cigar City's already down. So there's a whole bunch of moving pieces to this. It's kind of like a three-dimensional chess game here. Town gets revenue, town gets open space, town beautifies Route 3A, and we move the billboards that are in town. We'll have 2 on Route 3, and all the ones on the rest of the town all gone.
Thank you, Mr. Spock, for that three-dimensional chess reference.
Checkmate.
We're going to keep moving on, Bob, to question 9 in the lightning round. Greetings, Mayor Hedlund. My street and surrounding neighborhood have recently had their street lights replaced. There is a noticeable difference, all positive. Would you please provide an update on when all the street lights in town will be replaced and this cost savings to the town that we'll see with this new technology? This is a great way to make the overall town better. Also, I've been a resident of this town for 35 years, and I've been impressed by the DPW snow plowing this winter. In the years past, my street, a dead end, would hardly be plowed more than once. But this year, during each storm, my street has been plowed several times during and after each storm. I believe this is a reflection of a more efficient DPW. Thank you, and thank you to the DPW. This is from Mr. X.
Thank you for the kind words on, thanks, Dad, no. My dad's not alive. Mr. X. I think we probably have multiple Mr. X's, I'm guessing, I don't know.
No, that's the same one.
It is? How do you know? Oh, from the
Because
email?
I know who it is.
You know who it is?
Yes, I've told you that.
So Mr. X,
Is back.
his identity has never been revealed, and I have not seen this question,
Okay.
but I'm looking at it and I can see that someone took black marker and crossed his name out.
I crossed it out.
So you actually know the identity of Mr. X?
I do, but I didn't want Jim to say it.
Well, I don't know the identity of Mr.
Oh,
X.
okay. He seems like a heck of a fellow.
Oh. Can you reveal that to me?
No,
I can for a buck.
You got it blacked out. I can't even see it.
Hey, I got my X-ray visions. What do you think these glasses are?
So we applied for and received, right when I came in, Green Communities designation from the state. That gives us a leg up on grants. One of the grants we went after was a grant to do LED conversions on our streetlights. We moved ahead with that project. Finally, we're at the part now we are actually replacing the lights. The cost after the grant for us to replace the lights was, I want to say, I'm going to mess my numbers up here now, might have been about $1.2 million for us to do this. But the energy savings cost we recoup in less than 3 years.
Whoa.
So moving forward, the savings is millions, significant. Not only that, we're doing something good for the environment. And people can argue, we've gotten most people have said, oh, they look much better. We have got some people that say, oh, it hurts my eyes and it does this, and someone says there's some health thing, and they have to wear it. I was gonna make a joke. They got to wear a tinfoil hat to protect themselves from, I'm bringing it on myself on that one, I'm gonna get beat up. No, there's some someone did some health study claiming that it's got some effect. I don't know. But anyway, it's the trend. It's inevitable that eventually all will be converted everywhere.
So at some point we'll switch out
because
all
of the
these.
energy savings. So we're in the progress of doing it. I don't know where we are, but I know we're probably going to be completing this within the month. So the whole town will be done.
The whole town?
We
every
have a
street light?
contractor doing this now.
Wow.
Doing the conversion. So
just switching out the bulbs or with the
no,
physical light?
you got to
Okay.
switch out a head up there or something. I can't get into the technical term right now. I'd have to refresh my memory, but it's not just screwing in a light bulb. You have to convert part of the fixture up there. So
we'll see you with that blowtorch on 3A. We'll see you with the blowtorch up on the lights.
We didn't do really anything. I mean, we put some information out for the media a while ago. Maybe we'll do another announcement when it's complete. But no, we didn't do any photo ops for that or anything. Want me to get you up on a bucket truck screwing in a light bulb?
I was hoping I could get on your shoulders, and maybe we could.
But no, great question. Great question. It should be done. I guess, I believe, it's maybe before April, but I think we're going to go into April, but it'll be done in April.
Wow, that's good steps. But aesthetically, if I'm driving down the road, I wouldn't notice the
I have
change,
not
right?
noticed
Okay.
it yet. I'll be honest. I haven't noticed it. I don't think they've done my street. And I haven't noticed it elsewhere, but I have heard people remark that they've noticed it.
All right, Bob, we are 9 through and 3 more to go to get to our dozen.
And by the way, I'm in Weymouth every day, all day, right? Yeah. I haven't even seen the crews out doing it. So wherever they are, I've missed it. So.
Well, there's a lot of love being thrown the DPW's way, and now you know why. Great job, DPW. Right.
Well, that's actually not an initiative that came directly from DPW, but they've had a major hand in it, but that is an outside contractor that's doing that conversion. Okay. Yeah.
Well, either way, we're getting to the right place. Bob, this one is from the Grazianos. Mayor Bob, I would like to ask the mayor, when and how can we expand our sports programs to include those with disabilities? We have a high school program, but sports should start at a young age, especially to those with disabilities. Children with disabilities have to go out of town to do sports. There are many downsides to this, one being the social piece. These kids already have, these kids already have a time making friends in social situations, and if they could do extracurricular activities with those that they're in the classroom with, this would build on their social and emotional skills.
I can't say what the current programming is it would cover based on what disability. I mean, I have a friend with 2 sons that has Duchenne syndrome. I understand some of the programming he's in. It's very specialized. He takes them great distance for programming. So I don't know what our capabilities are and what the current offerings are, and I'm not sure what specifically disability we're talking about. I do know that some of our youth programs, which are not town-run, have some provisions for that. So I would need to know really what the specifics are, if they have a specific request. But I can't say off the top of my head what we do as relates to what disability.
It's pretty complex when you open it up that
I
way.
got my kid enrolled in a number of local sports programs, from street hockey to flag football to others, and I've seen accommodation made for certain disabilities
on the younger side, because that's I think the issue
side.
here, right? Apparently, the high school.
Yeah, so I mean, I'd need to follow up, I think, directly to understand more of the question on that. So I mean, that's kind of like a sort of follow up.
Yeah, well, hopefully that's helpful, Danielle, and I'm sure it's a challenge.
And I know
for
we
her
got a
family.
great. I think that recreation, is pretty well recognized. That recreation does a great job, and that if they get specific requests, we could talk to them about it.
Good stuff. All right, we're going to keep moving on, Bob. This one is regarding the Libby Field banner. Greetings, Mayor. There are many business advertisements at professional ballparks like Fenway Park. Is it possible to offer advertising space on the large banner at Libby Field? This may be a great way to generate revenue for the town. Please restrict it to Weymouth businesses and organizations.
Well, I don't think we want to restrict it to Weymouth. Show me the money, I think, is what we're restricted to.
Show me the money!
But no, we had a question in the last show about how we've been doing the maintenance on the fields. And obviously, one of the revenue generators, aside from fees, would be advertising. And we welcome that opportunity. In fact, we had a discussion, not at Libby, for another facility where we think we have a nice sponsorship opportunity for someone that wants to put a very tasteful little thing on a thing. A thing on a thing. I'll leave it at that right now.
Can you be a little more vague?
We're going to sell him some advertising on a Zamboni, okay? All right?
Hey, can I put my hand on the end of this one? Because you know that's
Hold
my
on,
neck
hold
of
on.
the woods.
Let me
Go ahead.
answer this. So yes, but I don't think we're going to do it on the banner.
Yeah.
But you'll see some fixed advertising. And one of the great things about the Libby project was we were under budget on all of them pretty much.
Excellent.
We were over budget on Libby on a couple of things that came up. We didn't, there's some ledge issues, there was some other things. We got to make an adjustment and accommodation for some foul balls in the back. We went a little overboard with the scoreboard. That was an accoutrement to that field that was a little bit ostentatious. However, the great thing about that, it's programmable, and we're able to put some advertising on the scoreboard, so you probably will see that.
Electronic?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bob, they say that the average kid is exposed, my math's going to be up, but like 10,000 marketing messages a day. On that banner, it's town, it's for the public, I would suggest you keep it as clean as it is right now.
The banner's not going to
Yeah, you're sending the wrong
It's
message,
too big.
I
It's
think.
too, it's, we want, if any advertising we want to have tasteful. I think that billboard, it's a little overwhelming. We've been through this a million times on this show.
Okay.
Even that logo is a little over the
Well,
top.
I
It was
disagree.
bigger than it was supposed to
Yeah,
be,
I think it
so we
looks
want to
great.
keep it tasteful.
Yeah, and certainly commercial messaging, that's my vote anyway. All right,
Did you
Bob,
like,
we are going
did
to
you
number
like the
12.
flag we had on there for Memorial Day?
Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Yep. Bob, boy, we're down to the nitty gritty here. This is going to be, I've got only 2 questions left to get to our dozen. I guess we're going to have to go with Jason's, because it's a quicker one for you. From our good buddy Jason Thayer writes in, "Hi Mayor, just curious, would you consider having Weymouth host a professional wrestling event? I think a lot of the youth would love it." Signed, Space Mountain, that's Jason's wrestling name.
I think he
where
caught.
and when?
I think he caught wind that there was some discussion about this because there are a couple of indie leagues. Actually, in my inbox out there's a phone call from a guy. He's from Randolph. He has New England All-Star Wrestling, and then I happen to be friends with a guy that runs a promotion called New England Championship Wrestling, and they're a little bit at odds. And I suggested, why don't you have an inter-promotional clash? We'll host it in Weymouth. That'll be a big draw. I actually saw a show they did over in Randolph at their intergenerational center, formerly known as the Senior Center, and they had an incredible turnout. And it was family appropriate, kid appropriate stuff, unlike some of the filth that you might see Vince McMahon put out at times.
Good fun.
So it's not out of the question if it would be under the auspices of the Recreation Department, from what I understand, if it happens. And it would be for charitable endeavor. The proceeds would go to a local charity. So
Maybe
that's
we could have Ted Langle and Steve Riley wrestle off in like the climactic match.
I think there's a slight resemblance with Chief of Staff Langell and Paul the Butcher Vachon. Can you check on that? Okay.
Bob, I would like the confetti of the roll. I want trumpets blaring. We have successfully completed a dozen questions for the first time ever on Ask the Mayor.
If I were a pro wrestler, who would I be and who would you be?
I know I would like to be Haystack Calhoun. And I want to put you as Cheap J Strongbow.
No.
Who would you be?
I don't have to think about it.
All right, before we do,
Who else then?
please, we really appreciate all the great questions
got
that have
one
come
more.
our way.
We're
I
gonna
know, but we want more for the future episodes. We're going to remind everybody to send the questions to askmayorbob@gmail.com. Please,
If we have
askmayorbob@gmail.com. All right, do we have one?
No,
time for
go.
one more? All right, Mary's got something, but here we go.
How many
Bob,
is this?
This is number 13, lucky number 13 for a record-shattering event. Hello, Mayor Bob and Jim, my achy, breaky heart melody. So you know this is from Ed Hartnett. We've kind of touched on this, but and Ed has actually been the inquirer. Hello, Mayor. I have read many stories about the fire stations in Weymouth needing many repairs and upgrades to their stations. I believe recently we received 1 or 2 new fire engines in the town, and I think that's
Mary,
great.
why are you making a face? That's a good question.
I also heard we are trying to sell, if we are not already, an older engine, which I believe is out of rotation. I have 2 questions for you. All the repairs we are doing at these older stations justifies that we still pour money into them, but we don't replace them. My second question is, we have lost 2 to 3 stations due to closings. Will we ever recover that loss, and do we intend in the future to build any new ones? Sorry, third question related to fire stations. Is there a formula used for the distance covered by a station to determine if it's too far away to provide an adequate response time? Thank you as always.
Yeah,
Ed
there is a
lot of that.
formula.
Okay.
There is a formula, and we know and we want to reopen Station 2 based on that formula.
Station 2 is located in?
Broad Street.
Broad
we
Street.
had this discussion before.
Is that in Weymouth?
You-
Where is Fire Station 2?
That's on Broad Street, right around the corner.
Oh, right down at the cusp of the landing?
Yeah, and the
There's talk about reopening that, huh? Down by Tufts?
during a down. You were thinking. No, when we had this discussion before, you thought it was the one at the corner of Broad and Washington.
But I now know it's down there by the library.
No, it's on Broad Street.
What town is this?
Around the corner from where you're sitting. So I don't want to get into, I can't get into publicly contract negotiations, but we would need the cooperation of the union, obviously, to reopen Station 2, and we differ on how to get to that goal. I think the union has stated that it would be a goal to reopen Station 2. It's a stated goal of this administration to reopen Station 2. I can't get into the details, but I think we've had 3 or 4 plans on the table that we can't reach agreement on. And we have tried to be creative. We've put suggestions forward which have not been accepted. So the station remains closed. It's a very frustrating topic for me right now. In terms of fixing the stations, I think we've invested, since I've taken office, I could stand to be corrected on this, but we've done some, I don't want to give the number, but it's a significant amount of work to Station 1 in North Weymouth. The building could use a replacement for sure, but we have invested money into that to extend the life of that a little bit longer, and some immediate needs that it did need, water infiltration, things like that. So it's a frustrating topic because we would like to get 2 reopened. Obviously, with the delays at Union Point, there is no need for a station there at the moment. Right now, only 2% of our public safety calls actually go there. Despite the fact we had that tremendous fire there under the building that was, in the building that was under construction, all of those have, significant upgrades in terms of fire prevention systems because of the new construction over there. That one hadn't been activated yet, but the amount of calls to Union Point are very low. So there's no demand and no need at the moment. If obviously we get some significant build-out over there, we'd have to look at planning for a station over there someday. So that's the short answer on Ed's question, which is a very good question.
But remember,
and on the
is that
apparatus.
ratio for coverage? Is there something that they use as far as remember the ratio as to how many stations regarding response time?
Yeah, we have a significant number of calls that are in the zone that Station 2 would cover.
Is there a formula used?
We could cut response time down significantly for a lot of calls in that sector if we reopen that station.
All right, well, listen, we're going to have to wrap up this episode, Bob. We have broken records here today, but before we go, we're going to put ourselves in the bonus round. It's time to give away another mug.
Where did we get the names
We've
for
been
this?
overwhelmed.
From the
We
pile
have been
today.
overwhelmed.
Huh?
From the pile today.
So people knew that they would be.
No, I'm just sending them
Oh,
along.
Highly anticipated.
This is a WETC
Lines out the
initiative.
door. We're on the edge of our seat.
I want to go low here. Did you mix these up?
Da, da, da.
Oh my God! This isn't. No way.
What?
I think that. Can I put another one in?
Yeah, sure.
Do I have discretion?
Yes, go.
Do you think we should award
We
it to that
just
or
want
not?
to get rid
yes
of
or
the
no?
mug.
I would say no. Anonymous is and aliases but that leaves it wide open.
You just blew the whistle on who it is.
Just pick a person.
Now this is good. Since I did a very poor job in answering her question, she definitely deserved a mug. She didn't get an answer, but she gets a mug.
Oh, geez, Danielle Graziano. Danielle, I think she got a decent answer. It's a complicated question, as you said. So, Danielle, you are the proud new owner of an Ask the Mayor mug. Dun, dun, dun. So we are going to have to say goodbye. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks again for all the great
Are you
questions.
going to wash that before you send it?
Any words of,
It's new, I'm kidding.
any words of wisdom, any party thoughts before we say goodbye to
Pick the
everybody?
show.
We want to remind everybody again to keep those questions coming into AskMayorBob@gmail.com and stay tuned
Can we do the Beverly Hillbillies? I don't think we've.
for the Beverly Hillbillies then.
Yeah.
If you have a question, please email the mayor at askmayorbob@gmail.com. That's askmayorbob@gmail.com. Maybe your question will be answered on the next episode of Ask the Mayor.
Old Jed's a millionaire. The kinfolk said, Jed, move away from there. Said, California is the place you ought to be. So they loaded up the truck and they moved to Beverly.